The queens all enter the workroom and all cheer that it's the final four as they make it to the table.
It's a new day in the workroom and, well, it's officially the final four and I made it. While yes, this isn't the path I thought I'd have to this moment, I still knew I'd make it this far. But to be in the moment right now, it feels surreal.
Lemmy congratulates Sylvester on winning the lip sync. Sylvester looks surprised at first then thanks him. Alice giggles and says that Sylvester's new leaf in Untucked must be turning over.
Honestly, I'm not happy Sylvester is still here. Shan was a good friend of mine. However, I guess I'll be Miss Congeniality for a little bit, seeing how this will probably be his last day here in this competition. However, I'm making that finale.
Forrest hugs Lemmy and congratulates him on the win, followed by Alice and Sylvester giving him a small round of applause. Lemmy says he now has 2 wins. Alice chimes in saying that she also has 2 wins and now she's coming for her 3rd maxi win. Both Forrest and Sylvester say they only have 1 win. Forrest and Sylvester at the same time say they'll be getting their 2nd win. This then continues into a stare down between the two before they start giggling.
Well, at this stage in the season I have one last chance to get a win. I've worked my ass off this entire season and I only have 1 damned win. I'm not going in the finale with 1 win, I don't think so, especially after last week's moment. I choose to forget that happened like most politicians when they get caught in a lie. If Sylvester of all people gets a 2nd win before I do, I might scream.
Sylvester asks what the queens think the final challenge is. Forrest says he's been waiting for another design challenge. Alice then asks if the makeover counts as a design challenge since they had to make their own looks. Forrest pauses for a moment then holds a finger up to Alice and says a design challenge he can win, causing the group to laugh. Lemmy then says that last season's top 4 challenge was a ball, so it might be what they're going to do for the challenge.
Honestly, I could care less what the final challenge is. I'm hungry to be in this finale and to win this challenge. Having 3 wins would be very nice going into the finale. But even if I don't win the challenge, I want is to make a great final impression to the judges.
Alice then points out how this is the final challenge before the finale. Forrest then says he's excited to see who's gonna be in the top 3 with him. The 3 other queens all look at him before Sylvester asks why Forrest thinks he'll be in the finale. Forrest then looks Sylvester up and down and simply says, "I don't need to explain anymore, sweetie." The 3 queens look at Forrest gagged again and Forrest says he's surprised everyone is gagged. He can read he's in the ballroom scene for a reason. As the queens continue talking, the TV then turns on and the 4 all of wish each other luck going into the final challenge. Lemmy then says he won't need it because he'll be winning it, and Alice then says finally Lemmy says a funny joke and Lemmy stops in his tracks to stare at her before he joins the rest of the group.
And here happens to be my fierce final 4. Throughout this entire competition we've seen what your skills are, but now is your final moment to shine in front of me and the judges, because this week we truly want to get to know who our potential finalists are, because this week we will be having the Who Are You Ball. The categories are as follows. Category 1, Sickening Signature Drag. This look needs to truly sell us the fantasy of who you are in your drag to a peak. Category 2, Favorite Thing. This category we want to see you put anything of your liking and make it drag. And finally category 3, this look you will need to make with the fabrics and materials in the workroom. This category will be called Your Drag Queen's Favorite Drag Queen. This category will have to come as the people who's inspired your drag, or well, your favorite drag queen. You girls better step it up this week, because tonight we will be joined by my good sister and original host of Holland, the icon herself, Musa.
Oh bitch, Musa will be judging us this week? Gag. Musa awarded me the first ever win of the season. While yes, it was my only win this season, honey, I love me a good design challenge. So I'm really hoping I can be in the top or even win.
Oh honey, finally a damn ball. This challenge is quite literally the end all be all of who gets the crown and who's the unfortunate finalist to see my crowning, haha. The last design challenge we had I was in the top, but it wasn't a win, and that was all the way back in episode 1. I'm getting this win one way or another.
The queens split up and Alice is off by herself sketching up a design. As she's sketching, Forrest walks up to her with a handful of fabrics. He then asks her what her design idea is. Alice looks up surprised and pulls up a chair so Forrest can sit. He sits and Alice says that she's being inspired by a handful of queens, but most in specifics Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Forrest looks at her a bit confused until Alice says that she's the mug of the season, she'll be fine, before lightly laughing.
Yes, the rumors are true. My favorite drag queen has to be Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, ha. We've had a few run-ins and he is such a sweetheart. I'm aware he isn't known for being glamorous, however I in fact am, haha. I plan on reworking his Philippines finale look and make it not offensive to the eyes. I'm sorry for reading you, Oswald, but sometimes books are needed to be read.
Forrest asks how she plans to make Oswald into the Alice Angel aesthetic. Alice says that Oswald already inspired most of her drag, so it won't be that hard, and the look she'll be making is his finale look. Forrest nods and has a bewildered expression and says that he's excited to see what she does. Alice then asks what Forrest plans to do. Forrest shows her his sketchbook and it has about 4 different gowns. Alice asks if he needs help choosing gowns and Forrest shakes his head and says that he plans to make part of the 4 outfits and then combine the 4 together. Alice then asks what queens inspired the outfits. Forrest says that he's been trying to show off the Norian side of his drag, and so he plans to use elements from Elise, Camilla, Azura and himself. Alice pauses and asks if he's his own favorite drag queen, and Forrest says he is in fact his favorite drag queen.
I've kind of been distancing myself from my family this entire competition simply because I didn't want to be seen as just the baby queen from Nor who can only get by because of his family legacy. But obviously I knew I was more than just that. So this look is considered a love letter to all my aunties who've helped me in my journey in drag, and well, I'm doing 4 bitches. If I don't win, it's rigged at this point, huh?
Meanwhile, Sylvester and Lemmy are sat together and the two seem to actually be getting along fairly well. Sylvester asks what Lemmy's plan for his design look is. Lemmy says that he'll be doing a look inspired by a local queen and his drag brother Rascal. Sylvester asks how Rascal is related to Lemmy since he isn't a Koopa. Lemmy says that he's basically in 2 drag families now with the fact Nikolai adopted him. Nikolai also adopted Rascal into the house, but it's more like Nikolai and Rascal are parents and keep the others in check. Lemmy then goes on about how Rascal actually did teach him how to do a non-crunchy split, causing the two to laugh.
Now yes, I'm in the House of Koopa and House of Gobble. What about it? Jealous because both of my families have talent? I'd be too, haha. But in all seriousness, Rascal is someone who I consider like my third father at this point. The look I plan to make is a little complicated due to the fact Rascal is a fat bitch and an amazing designer and likes to make these elaborate gowns and other stuff. But I ain't wussing out because I want to make that finale, and if it means making a complicated look, then yeah, it'll be done.
Lemmy then asks what Queen Sylvester plans to do. Sylvester says he's gonna ditch the Tweety idea, and Lemmy chimes in saying for once, and Sylvester flips him off. Sylvester continues to explain that he will be recreating a look from one of his good sisters, Bugs Bunny. Lemmy says Sylvester has some high expectations given the fact that he won the first challenge with Musa present and it was a design challenge. Sylvester says he's aware of the fact, but he couldn't care less since he knows he's the top seamstress here, and Lemmy side-eyes him.
I know I'm a strong designer and I've made a handful of local girls' looks and even some of the queens on different franchises, and guess what, they look great. I know Forrest and Alice are good designers, but in reality I've beat them once, I can do it again. And Lemmy? Please, that's a laugh to think he can do good in a design challenge. I'm being nice because I'm not trying to get into a whole fight to distract me, I'm just here to take the win.
The queens come together at a table to work on their outfits. As they start working, Alice then turns to the others and asks what pushed them to start auditioning for Drag Race. Sylvester looks at her and then says since it's her question, she should be the one to start the group off. Lemmy and Forrest agree, and Sylvester says he's really interested to see what Alice wanted with Drag Race. Alice says that throughout her entire life acting has been a huge part of it obviously, but during her teenage years she used to sneak off into clubs and just watch the queens perform, and that inspired her to start taking more things into her hands. And she's been using her platform to advocate for drag, and she wanted to do Drag Race to elevate her drag even more, and she originally auditioned for a few seasons of cartoon Drag Race but then turned her attention to Holland.
My entire career has been me trying to advocate for everything drag, and it all started from my pure love for this art form. I don't think people realize the effect we have on this community and even on people who's had thoughts of doing drag. It's the way we all hold ourselves that just make what we do so important.
Alice then turns her attention to Sylvester and asks him what his idea for joining Drag Race was. Sylvester then says it's gonna be hard to follow Alice's good reasoning, causing the queen to laugh. Sylvester then says that he's been icon in this community for many a year, and that once Tweety got into Toon World a bitch got jealous and wanted to outdo him. Lemmy then says he clearly failed at that, and Sylvester gives him a pointed look. Forrest then asks him if the two helped each other for their runway packages. Sylvester then replies by saying that they've made a few accessories for each other and occasionally detailing outfits, but they tend to make their own outfits by themselves.
Tweety has been like my best friend for a long time. I know a lot of people think we hate each other, but that's anything but the truth, haha. I have a fairly good relationship with the other Looney Tunes queens, which I mean makes sense since we're like some of the biggest names in this community. Some can say I've been a big bitch this season, but I don't care if the queens can't handle shade.
Forrest then asks why Lemmy decided that Drag Race Holland was the path for him. Lemmy then smirks and says he originally wasn't planning to audition for Holland and originally auditioned for a show called Cartoon Dragula, and the three all look at him surprised. Alice then says she couldn't imagine Lemmy doing all those extermination challenges. Lemmy then says he wouldn't have needed to worry about that because he would have won with no placements below safes, causing the queens to laugh. Lemmy then says after a while of doing drag he had a small shift away from pure drag monster and he eventually met Nikolai and went into a more glam monster route.
I mean, it's no surprise my drag is a little more alternative, haha. I kind of always had stuck with this killer clown aesthetic since I've started drag. Now did I look a little busted because I used to just walk out with a gallon of spirit Halloween blood all over myself and call it a look when I was a baby queen? Yeah, I sure as hell did, but hey, look at me now, I'm stunning bitch and in the top 4 of Cartoon Drag Race Holland, so suck it bitches.
The three then turn to Forrest and Sylvester asks what's his tea. Before Forrest could respond, he then asks why the hell is Forrest tearing up 4 wigs. Forrest then says it'll be for his design look and he proceeds to explain that he'll be making a custom wig from 4 different ones. He then changes the subject and says that he's usually been a queen on the sidelines back home in Nor and that majority of the looks from Nor have been made by himself and he already had a lot of the skills from his other family members and he in fact auditioned for season 1 but he was denied. Sylvester then says why couldn't Musa cast Forrest for season 1 since he's actually doing good making the others laugh. Forrest then says he mainly wants to prove that he isn't just some designer and then says that his run this season has done more than enough to prove that.
Well, if we want to get real, I didn't really have my eye on Cartoon Drag Race for a long time. I was mostly just minding my business in the ballroom scene. Until Camilla won Philippines season 1, I thought why not apply to Holland 1, and well, clearly that didn't work out hot. And a part of me is a little happy I got denied because now I'm here on season 2 and I'm in the top 4, so I fear I'm gonna take it.
As the queens all finish up their outfits, production then tells them to get ready for the main stage. The 4 all do a quick little group hug and start to get ready for the runway.
Hello. Welcome to the main stage of Cartoon Drag Race Holland. I am Stella, your host, and tonight I asked my queens to show us an insight into who they are. In the Who Are You Ball. Now then, let's meet our judges. Permanent judge and the season 1 winner, Pave. Pave, who's your favorite drag queen?
Well, I definitely have to say, well, I guess Bill Anderson's OnlyFans. I think that's the perfect answer.
I'm sorry, what? Is that what you've used our paychecks for? Well, yes! I'm disappointed. Now then, our extra special guest judge, the icon herself, Cartoon Drag Race winner and my good drag sister Musa. Thank you so much for being here tonight for this very special semi-final episode.
Wow, Stella, I love what you did with the place, looks lovely. Thank you so much for having me. On my own lot, I'm very excited to see what the queens are going to bring.
Course girl, makes sense, our first ever host would be the last guest judge of the season. And technically it's my lot, a hand-me-down sure, but I can at least keep a season running. Now then, let the judging commence.
Forrest slayed the challenge.
Tonight I think was a masterclass of who I am and what my drag is. For my sickening signature drag look, I walk out in a baby pink mermaid gown that I might have gone blind stoning. The entire gown is adored in very lovely lace trimmings and stoned to high health. For my favorite things runway, I walk out in a black dress that is splattered with all sorts of neon paint, all the while with a masquerade bird mask. The moment I get to the middle of the runway, I then pull on 2 strings that are hidden in the train of the gown, and bitch, I'm a peacock. I have a whole tail feather train that I used, yes, real peacock feathers that I also splattered with neon paint. I love tropical birds, and I mean with Pave on the panel, why not feel his own notes? And for my final runway, I walk out in this mismatched but not ugly because, well, it's me outfit. I've taken many inspirations from my drag family. Part of the outfit is from Camilla, part of it is from Elise, and the other parts are from me and Azura. Not to mention the mug honey. I mixed and matched all my auntie's makeup styles to make this absolutely beautiful Norian Frankenstein.
Lemmy had a great performance.
Oh honey, I stormed tonight like it wasn't fair. For my sickening signature drag, I walked out in a lovely, yet very tacky clown dress. It's pastel and adorable, and for once I actually did a full clown mug. I'm happy. Skipping and jumping all over this runway, I even bedazzled the shit out of my very lovely heels with pom-poms. Next, for my favorite things category, I strut out in this lovely black and orange latex bodysuit with a lovely wooden mask. Yeah, that's right, on the grinder logo. This mask is in fact a Skull Kid original I had handmade. I am padded to high hell. This lace is so snatched I can barely breathe. I have these makeshift shoulder pads I used by rummaging through Nikolai's stash that I was told not to be in after 7. And for my final design look, I walk out as my drag brother and icon Rascal. I styled this wig myself by parting and styling it into 4 different colors. I have no clue how the hell he does it, but he does. I'm decked out in a white bodysuit covered in purple chains and belts all around my body. This was surprisingly hard to make, but guess what, bitch, I did it and I look great. For like the 15th time this season I've looked like the sexiest bitch in the room.
Alice and Sylvester had a good performance.
Tonight walking out on the runway, I think I did great. These are some of my favorite looks I've brought out. For my signature drag look, I walk out in a floor-length black gown. I've painted my face to give the pure rubber hose cartoon fantasy. As I continue to walk down the runway, I reveal the slit going all the way up to my chest with the top held together by some intricate stitching. Trust and believe the leg is being sissied, honey. For my favorite things on the runway, I walk out with my entire body painted gray. I'm wearing a white tarp over my body and I've added moss detailing all throughout my body and the tarp. I am, well, a living statue. I'm art, honey. The only thing that is moving is, well, nothing. I'm barely sliding. My pose hasn't changed once because once again I'm a statue, haha. And for my final design look, I walk out in pure Oswald drag. For some reason Lemmy offered to help me with the face and I'm surprised it worked, so I give him props for the help. This wasn't the most complicated thing to make and I know how to sew a garment. The makeup? Flawless. Being grayscale? Simply done. I tried to add more detailing, but even then this was a look I really enjoyed making.
Oh girl, tonight on the runway I think I did amazing. I strutted out for my first category. My signature drag look is a sleek gown. While yes, it's simple, I think my drag finds the glamour in simplicity. The majority of the gown is rhinestoned in a lovely gradient, and same with the matching gloves with the gown and same rhinestone details. For my favorite things category, I walk out in this 2-sectioned outfit. The top half I am wearing a long red wig with long red fabric draped from my arms. The bottom part of the ball gown I'm wearing is painted by myself to make it look wooden. My favorite thing has always been the theater and Broadway of it all, so why not pay homage to that? And for my final runway, I walk out as my favorite drag queen and Looney Tunes sister, Bugs Bunny. I walk out and I literally look like a bunny. Could that be considered a hate crime against bunnies because I'm a cat? Like maybe, but that's besides the point. I walk out in a gray bodysuit and bitch, I have 3 bullet holes in my chest because I was finally hunted down via rabbit season. Is it camp? Oh absolutely. Is it glamour? Well no, because I literally have bullet holes in my chest. This is pure camp and gore like a furry Art the Clown on DeviantArt.
Tonight I must say you all gave each other a run for y'all's money. Now then, tonight will play out a little bit differently. But before we get to that, Musa, please start us off with the critiques.
Well, of course, sister. Alright, I'll start with Alice. Now Alice, of course I've been catching up on this season. I don't neglect my own franchise, haha. I've noticed that every time you've walked out on the runway you've done the same walk. Now I can see that your runways are always different and most of the time you walk out on the runway changing for the better, look-wise. However, I want to focus on the actual walk of the runway. You never presentate the outfit, you just strut in it. I don't hate a lovely strut, but when your look needs to be performative you have a whole clock on the titty and you didn't do anything with it. The only time you've changed the presentation with a look was the statue look. I actually did love the look itself, but it looks almost a little cringy with how you glided or, well, slid down the runway. I also noticed that, some of the accessories on the actual gown seem to be a little rushed and last minute and, well, they're hot glued. Overall, I enjoyed the craftsmanship of this look. You know how to work around a sewing machine, but tonight all of the flaws are on center stage. Do I think this ball package is shit? Absolutely not. However, when it's the finale on the line, I need to spot the details.
Oh wow. I haven't gotten many bad critiques this season, but to hear them from Musa felt, well, not good. However, I can't argue, she's totally right about the details and accessories being rushed. I can really only blame myself for that. I'm certainly not winning this challenge. There might be a small shot in the dark I could squeak by not lip syncing, but who knows at this point.
Now then, moving on to Forest. Bitch, I'm fucking floored tonight. Every look you walked out in tonight, while different, still felt uniquely you. The design look is my personal favorite. I fear I might need to book a flight to Noor. The mug, the detailing of the actual outfit, and that wig I'm obsessed with. Now looking at your other 2 looks tonight, I'm here to give critiques good and bad, but this is more nitpicky and it'll be fixed if you want to be on my level.
On your level, oh please girl, save it.
I don't need to save it, it's been sent, darling. Now the icon is speaking.
Can we please move on with these damn critiques, dumb and uglier? Apologies, ladies. Continue, Musa.
Now back on topic to Forest. The first look I enjoyed it, however the second look I noticed that the strings that you pulled on for the peacock tail feather gag, which I lived for, the strings were almost in your face type of noticeable, but that's about it for the negatives. I think you smashed it tonight, Mary. I loved how you did your mug tonight, it fully looks like sections of your face are different people, and the outfit? I'm gagged.
Girl, I could literally die happy right now, haha. To get positive critiques in the last competitive week is great, but to get them from Musa of all people? Oh bitch, I feel like, not real right now, but I do really hope I can win the ball challenge. That would make me so happy even more in this moment right now.
Alright, moving on to Sylvester. Now I actually really enjoyed your first look, it was simple but elegant and it wasn't hard to look at when I think of basic. However, I'm a bit lost. You say your drag is a small bit simple, elegant, camp and all that, but you walk out for the second category in this very high glam elaborate look. I actually love it, but it's like I'm following a map and suddenly the map is telling me to go face first in a ditch. And looking at your final look tonight, I'm just a tad disappointed. I know what you're capable of and I casted you for a reason. First off, your favorite drag queen is Bugs, and you do him with bullet holes in the body. I fear that friendship isn't lasting, haha. But looking more technically, obviously you made this, but the hems are very ugly. And I noticed that some of the seams are puckering and I'm just a little confused. I feel like there's way more to you than what you're showing, but there's two things to that. One, you refuse to show what I know you have, and two, it's way too late in the competition to show it. Overall, I think this isn't a bad ball package, but some did better.
You can't argue with a queen like Musa. I think I overthought everything I did this week. And for the record, Bugs, I don't want to see you shot dead, haha. Even if I'm in the bottom tonight, I will still give it my all to whoever I'm up against, and if I'm not in the bottom, well, then I will make the finale, which won't be that bad.
Last but not least, Lemmy. I am speechless in the best way possible. I love Luo, your signature drag look. I usually don't partake in clownery, but I'd maybe think about it and then never think about it ever again. Your favorite things look like I am in shock, not because I'm surprised someone like you. Your favorite thing is grinder, but it's just so camp and the details were definitely there and present. However, I will say that your second look did feel like it was wearing you a little bit as opposed to you wearing it. And for your design look, I actually loved it. I think it's a bit simpler when it comes to detailing, but there is a common theme among everyone where these are fairly well made outfits. Now I'm gonna be fully honest, I have no clue who the fuck Rascal is, but I think after this runway I have a good grasp on his drag. Overall, I think this was a great final showing for you, Lemmy.
Oh wow, are we surprised I did great? No? Someone get out the limo to the final lot because I'll be needing validated parking. Also because I got my license taken away from me.
Tonight we aren't done. I want to ask each of you, who should go home tonight and why? Lemmy, I'll start with you.
Well, I'd have to say Sylvester, despite the fact he's been more nicer to everyone. That doesn't distract from the fact ever since episode 2 he's been flatlining and has gone on a downhill spiral. Not to mention, in my opinion, he did the worst this week, and that's why I think he should go home tonight. Thank you.
Did this bitch just say more nicer? Lord, he's illiterate. Maybe I shouldn't bring him to Nor anytime soon. I fear Leo and Camilla might just throw him out right then and there if he brought that out.
Right, thank you. Sylvester, who should go home tonight and why?
I'll make this simple. It should be Forest. In this competition, you need to show charisma, uniqueness, nerve and talent. While he fits into maybe 2 of the categories to be the winners. Uniqueness? I don't see it, and I think it was obvious, especially during the makeover. We were asked to be drag kings. He just looked a little butch. Not to mention, he can't keep his little pocket twink in check if you can't show multiple looks, let alone be a person to keep others in line that isn't a winner.
Oh, absolutely not. I don't care if it isn't my turn to speak now, I will anyways. Sylvester, you want to talk about uniqueness and versatility? You can't even do that yourself because almost every week you've walked out in the same ugly cocktail dress. You've been doing the worst out of everyone here, and for a self-proclaimed comedy queen, because nobody laughs at your jokes, you clearly can't even make a good one. And if you want to come at me for other people's actions, it's clear to me that the only thing that you can do in drag is grasp at straws. So how about you actually make a good excuse as to why I should go home? Sylvester, you deserve to go home tonight. Don't play the victim, it doesn't suit you well.
Wow. Well, Forrest, luckily for you it was your turn anyways. Now then, Alice, please end it off for us.
Well, I have no clue how to follow up Forrest, but I think I have to be fair here. Unfortunately, I'd have to say Sylvester. But it's not just because of the fact he's been not doing great, it's more of the fact that he truly isn't himself. I've noticed a shift after week 4 where he hasn't been his real self, instead a caricature of a villain. Sylvester then himself. A winner shouldn't have to change anything about their drag, let alone personality, to win. I say this from the bottom of my heart, Sylvester. That isn't healthy for your mental state, and I hope you fix that.
Now then, with that in mind, me and the judges have made some decisions. Forrest, congratulations, you're the winner of this week's challenge and you'll be in the finale. Lemmy, great job this week, you're safe and will also be in the finale.
Oh holy shit, I just made the finale and got my second win. I genuinely couldn't be happier in this moment right now, this feels surreal.
Which unfortunately means, Alice and Sylvester the cat, I'm sorry my dears, but you are up for elimination. Tonight we've asked you to perform a lip sync to Emotions by Mariah Carey. Good luck and don't fuck it up.
Alice had a great lip sync, Sylvester had a good lip sync.
I've made my decision. Alice Angel, Shantae you stay, Sylvester the cat. The true icon you are, but now I must ask you to sashay away. Now then, my lovely final 3. I must ask our fans now, are you team Alice Angel, Lemmy Koopa, or Forrest? One of these 3 will be winning the crown of Cartoon Drag Race Holland 2, but who? Find out at the finale.